I'm really good. Do you want me to stream this to my audience as well?
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Let's.
Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. Right. I believe this will already now be streaming on LinkedIn. So hello everyone.
Amazing.
Sorry, we're a little bit late. Right, and we should now also be going live onto Instagram. So good stuff. Right, welcome, Dani. Thank you so much for being here. Great to see you again.
To see you, and I'm so sorry that I'm late. It's me that scuppered the beginning.
No problem. This is it, right? This is life and business. This happens, and then it's more about, well, actually, who do you get to become in these kind of moments? And it's one of those things, and you can just be like, right, okay, cool, I'll just wait and then see what happens. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We reschedule. That's it. It's not the end of the world, right? So wonderful. Thank you for being here on Being Your Brand live series. So for those of you who haven't come across this before, and or even me, I'm Aarti Parmar. I am a certified brand strategist and coach, and I love to work with legacy-minded founders to mindfully define and help them to really embody their brand and use it with intent, joy, and effect, so that they can be a catalyst for meaningful change. And I know you'll probably really, really resonate with that as well, Dani. And so that's a little bit about me. In terms of what Being Your Brand series is, it's a conversation with visionary founders, visionary founders who are consciously leading with their identity and making a meaningful impact and making money in their business. So I've come across you, Dani, and I'm just like, oh yeah, definitely, fits very well into this visionary founder who is consciously leading with their identity and doing it amazingly well. So before I get you to speak and we delve into a bit more about you, again, for people who may not have come across you, I'm not sure why they wouldn't have. I'll just share a little bit about you. So, Dani Wallace, and I'm going to share what I have in my in the post that I put out there. So, I haven't memorized this, so I will be reading it out. Right, Dani Wallace, once a serial self-saboteur who grew up on the council estates of Preston. Dani has faced domestic violence, homelessness, and single parenthood, and turned pain into purpose. Today, she's one of the UK's most exciting motivational speakers and a fearless leader of the I Am the Queen Bee movement and Fly Anyway Foundation. Drawing on over 20 years' experience in business, leadership, entertainment, and events, Dani brings an unmistakable energy to every stage, blending truth, humour, and a whole lot of practical wisdom. She helps everyone from enthusiastic amateurs to seven-figure earners craft powerful talks that connect deeply, influence widely, and make money doing what they love. Oh, I love that. And this last line, her rallying call: show up, wise up, rise up. Because no matter what life throws at you, you can always fly. Well, hashtag fly anyway.
To do the hashtag, right?
Exactly. Hashtag fly anyway. Absolutely love that. And actually, what I would really like to delve into is exactly that: this show up, wise up, rise up. How have you been doing that with everything that you've navigated through in life? How do you do that?
It's not a funny one, actually. It's the furthest away from being a funny one, Aarti. And thank you so much for having me, by the way. I'm really, really excited to be sharing space with you. I'm a huge admirer of your work. And if I think about the concept of showing up, wising up, and rising up, it actually was born from having a series of experiences where at the time, it was very easy for me to believe that life was happening to me. And I was in a series of circumstances whereby, I was homeless, I'd experienced domestic abuse, and all the while, I was outwardly perceived as somebody who had it together, was successful. I was working in corporate at the time. I was had a really successful career within contact centers, in learning and development, and so on and so forth. But because of the situation that I was having at home and underneath and in my private life, all of the money that I was earning within my role was spent on keeping my children in nursery, in structure, and fed and watered, because I didn't get any help. So everything that I was doing at the time was just trying to keep the wheels on for my kids. And I experienced like sort of a point in time where I'm sofa surfing with my kids, and we're at my mum's and my sister's and friends' houses and trying to get myself sorted. And I just thought, you know what, I feel like I'm incapable of making one good decision. I feel like life is happening to me. And then I realized that I was giving away a lot of power with that thought, or with that perception, and with that belief. And considering I was within the learning and development world, and, you know, a lot of the things that I was teaching, I wasn't maybe necessarily applying to myself. It was really a case of the cobbler's shoes. You know, I was, you know, teaching things like transactional analysis and things like that. And then I kind of just decided, what if I was to happen to life? What if I was to decide that I am complicit in every decision that I make? I am the decision maker in every decision that I make. Even when I feel like my hand is forced, I still have autonomy of choice in most situations. I can choose to continue. I can choose to not continue. I can choose to work. I can choose to not work. If I find myself in a position where I don't have work anymore, I can choose to find something else. And that got me thinking about some of the things that I was teaching within HR, within learning and development. I really like the idea of like plan, do, review. I really like that. You know, it's very basic, isn't it? It's very simple. But I wasn't really necessarily applying it to myself. And I was like, how can I explain this to me and to other people? Because I swore if ever I was to survive that situation, I'd be in service of people. I'd want to help people. The idea was I needed to set the sat nav. And one of the reasons why life was happening to me is that my sat nav wasn't set. My sat nav was getting to the end of the day. And if I got to the end of the day, I'd won. But that meant that anything could happen in that day, because I wasn't going anywhere past the end of that day. I just had to go and do it again and do it again and do it again, and wondered why I was getting the same results. So I was like, what if I set the sat nav further away and allow myself to be deserving of a life of my choosing? And that was to have my own house, to not worry about money, to be able to go to a restaurant and not worry about paying the bill, not ordering a starter because it was the only thing that I could afford, which feels very frivolous, but for me, it was a big thing at the time. Right, we need to set the sat nav. Otherwise, I don't know where I'm driving to. Because, Aarti, if you're getting in the car and you don't know where you're going, well, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, because, you know, I always kind of think like you can put the destination in, and that's the important part. And there may be some reroutes and detours on the way. Yeah, it's important to have
the destination. So destination is, in the case of Short Wise Rise Up, is rising up. What does rising up look like? And we need to understand where we are and where we're going. That's the first job. And rising up could be anything. And what's great for anybody listening is that you are all, wherever you are, whether you're winning or learning at the minute, because no one's ever losing, whether you're winning and learning at the minute, you're already in a position of having risen up because you're still here. So no one's ever failing. So wherever it is that we are, whatever the rise up situation is, and be really, really clear and explicit about it. If you don't have that thing already, then you are missing one or both of two things. One is that you need to know something. You need to wise up. You need to learn something. So for me, I needed to learn about myself, that I was making decisions. I needed to learn about myself that I was complicit in the decisions that I was making. That I had to learn that I was able to choose differently.
Yeah.
And that I was
asked at this point, how did you learn to trust those decisions? Because self-trust is massive, right? There are times where we may think, right, want to decide something, but then we don't always have that self-trust. How have you sort of navigated that, learning to trust those decisions?
It's a really difficult one when it's difficult to trust yourself, or when it has historically been difficult to trust yourself. But really sitting with the mirror, which is one of the hardest things that we do as human beings, is really sit with the mirror and say, actually, was I making decisions, or was the decisions that I was making the path of least resistance for me because I didn't know any better? So if I need to learn more in order to get to where it's, if I need to learn how to make better decisions, for example. So the problem was, I'm not making very good decisions. The solution to the problem is, I need to learn how to make better decisions. Why am I not making good decisions? Who's really good at making decisions, who I need to go and learn from? Who's got the thing that I want over in my rise up space? Who's got that? What do they know? What decisions do they make? So I have to borrow somebody else's path. Like success leaves clues, right? So, and then make micro decisions to move you forward. Like making a big decision without having any muscle reps done for self-trust is difficult. So making micro decisions. Mine was, I haven't been asking for help. I'm going to ask for help and stop there. What's happening now? Oh, I'm getting the help that I've asked for. Who knew that's what happened when you ask for help? Now I can trust myself to make that decision. What's the next decision that I can make? Right, the work that I do isn't making me really happy. So what would really make me happy? How do I learn how to do that? So it's like this constant cycle of learning. What do I need to know? And some people are serial learners, and they'll learn lots and they'll tip lots in the head pot, right? And they'll keep learning, Any of you procrastinators out there, I see you. But what happens is that, remember I said there was one of two things missing. So it might be that you've learned lots of things and you know lots of things, but you might be a knowledgeable fool because you're not showing up. You might have learned the thing, oh, I know all this. And it's a really dangerous thing for us to say is, I know.
Yep.
I know without action is a very knowledgeable fool. And that's a big one, isn't it? Knowledge without action is a knowledgeable fool. I don't know about you, and I know that people will be listening along and have been in this position where someone says, I know what it is that you have to do, and you know what it is that you have to do. You know that you're not showing up for it in the way that you need to. So the next question is, who do I need to be? Who do I need to show up for here? How do I need to show up? Where do I need to show up? And for me, it was, I need to show up for my kids now, not just survive. I need to show up for me. I need to show up when I started to build my business. I need to show up for the people that I want to help. How do I need to show up? Who do I need to be? Instead of who I am now, and it's not who I was then wasn't enough, it's that I hadn't learned yet. I hadn't decided. So I needed to learn about me. Who did I want to be? And then who do I need to be in order to get where it is that I'm going? What are the types of people that have what it is that I want? Who am I most aligned with? Has there never been anybody else like me in this world ever? I'd like to think no, but there have. Very egotistical to think that is the case.
Yeah.
So and then realizing that once you get there, there's nothing at the top of the ladder because there'll be something else that you want. And you can apply this cycle to every area of your life. So to your family, to your work, to your connections, to your brand, for example. Yeah. If you think about iterations of brand, it's funny, Aarti. I've been really thinking about this. The iterations of my brand over the past 7 or 8 years have been very interesting. So when I first started, it was who do I need to be? Who am I aligned with? And I'm this. And then after a while, it was how do I be more this? How do I turn the volume up on this? And turning the volume up so much that I almost became a caricature of myself.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then realizing that I don't need all this because I am my brand intrinsically. I am made up of the fabric of my brand. And it's come almost full circle. Yeah. And that's, again, the show up, rise up aspect of my brand has been that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good point in terms of, because even as business owners, we evolve from, who we started and how we started off. as day dot one. And then we get a lot of, well, there's exposure that we see on social media where people, are, and you sort of, oh, that person's amazing. And I love how they are doing this and doing this. And like you said, you kind of want to be inspired by them or role model or that kind of thing. And you pick up little bits. And it's interesting to know where that line is of, wait, one moment, is this me?
Yeah.
Or is this them? Am I performing or am I embodying me?
Am I being?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love that you've come into this space in that sense. How, because this whole thing about being your brand serious is about the being behind the brand, and that's what we're delving into more and more here. So how did you sort of feel like, actually, or what signaled for you, this is me and I am embodying my brand?
Yeah. The part of my brand is that, I'm tattooed from my neck to my toes. I'm a singer. I incorporate performance into aspects of the events that I run. I help the people that I work with within my public speaking coaching business to push the boundaries of performance for themselves, to push connection for themselves, to understand themselves. And that's a real inside job, because I'm not trying to create more people like me. I'm trying to help people be more them and lean into as much of them as they possibly can be. What I serve is like the extremes of the borders of the levels of play you can utilize and still be taken seriously. When I first started out, the joy that I get from working and the way in which I work, there was a very real risk and early doors, because I wasn't very self-aware, that I wouldn't be taken seriously. But this is who I am. I'm playful. People mistake me for being loud. I'm actually not very loud at all. I'm quite an introvert. But I am joyfully curious about people. I am joyfully curious about what makes them tick. And because I'm so joyfully curious all the time, it can be mistaken for like uber golden retriever energy. Oh, do you know what? Oh, she's a bit much. Or she's not to be taken seriously in business. She's turned up in a inflatable poo suit, for example. When actually, when you start to peel back the layers, there's reasons behind everything that I do. It's all very well thought out. The mismatch at the beginning was that I know all those things to be true, that I'm intelligent and that I utilize these things very intentionally. Because I wasn't communicating that very well or very self-aware of it, there was a disconnect. People wouldn't take me seriously. Oh, she's just a singer. Oh, yeah, she's just a performer. Actually, no, I know loads about psychology and I share that. I get the most out of people because I can see a future for them that they might not necessarily be able to see. I can see a message for them that is bigger than them saying they want to sell a thing. And they get to grow into that. But I wasn't talking about it. And so part of my internal identity had to become my external identity. I had to start marrying up not just the aesthetic, but the internal identity as well. And that's been a real growth.
And how did you give yourself that permission to do that?
I was bored of fighting with myself. Like I got to a point where I felt, I was saying, like a caricature of myself.
Yeah.
Oh, people are expecting me to dress loud or to sing or to or be silly. And I really started to not take myself seriously either. And I had to really come back to myself and go, no, I've got value to give. And it's actually reflective in my social media. There was a real gear shift. Because I was trying to perform all the time, my message was being lost. I wasn't being clear about how it was that I was helping people. I was just trying to entertain them for entertaining's sake, because of course that's what Dani Wallace is known for. She's got a microphone in her hand. She's got the stage lights on. She's in a funny costume. So I had to be very explicit and articulate about the reasons why I'm doing those things and embody in tandem with articulating why I was doing those things. Because It isn't that I just want to be a performer. I want to help people speak about their businesses.
Yeah.
So my identity as a brand, I want to help people take up space who might not necessarily normally take up space, who might not necessarily see themselves in business rooms or on stages with a microphone in the hand. It can't just be about me on stage singing a song because it's nice.
Yeah.
Even though it forms part of my identity. So it's sitting again with the mirror and going, okay, what are the facets of the diamond here? And how do I consistently articulate them in oscillation? Like, I don't want to lose any of the joy or the costumes or the singing, but I've got to make sure that I have enough depth and pillars within my identity and make sure I'm articulating them regularly. And that was a real shift. That's when people started to really take me seriously, because I took myself seriously.
Love that. Love that. And for those of people who are listening, what would you say are some of those signals that start coming up? What signals started coming up for you, knowing that there was some sort of disconnect with the external and the internal? So then, so people may be able to recognize it for themselves as well.
I weren't attracting the right clients toward me. I weren't attracting the right clients toward me. It was hitting me in the back pocket. I weren't growing my social media in a way that made sense, because the majority of my marketing is through in-person events and social media. They're just my channels of business. What I was finding is that I weren't attracting speaking clients. People were inquiring about me singing at their 40th birthday.
Right,
Fine, which is nice, but I don't gig anymore because I'm too busy. But we had to be really clear about what the pillars of the brand were and really lead with those. So I weren't attracting, I'm like, I was different, and people was like, she's different, but I wonder what she does.
Right.
Instead of, and I think this was a key thing as well. When I've met people, Aarti, when I've gone, oh, that person's really lovely, but I'm not quite sure what they do.
Yeah. I've been in rooms like that. And gone over to their socials, and I'm like, I still don't know what they do.
I still don't know what they do.
Great, they've got great energy and stuff. And I'm like,
oh, I love them. They're great. Yeah. Would you pay them for something? No, because I don't know what I'm paying them for. Yeah. Or I'm paying them to sing at my mum's thing.
Great to hang out, but I don't know what they do.
Yeah, exactly. So, and again, from a speaking perspective, I moved out into the speaking space, actually being a speaker. I remember having a conversation right at the beginning, because I've been speaking for years, but because I've been speaking in corporate, I didn't have any of the assets needed to say to an event producer, you definitely want me on your stage, I'm really good. Also, I wasn't really super clear in the thing that I wanted to bring to the stage. So someone would go, can you speak, Dani? I go, yeah, what can you speak on? Anything you want, babe. I just want the stage. Give me this, anything you like. Brain surgery. Yeah, why not? Let's go. But being very, very clear on what I will speak about and what I don't speak about. So you and I are talking about brand, right? And identity. I don't do talks on that. I'll talk to you about it because that's how I've built what I've built. And I've got something to say about it. I don't get hired to speak about identity or brand and how that I speak on communication. And I don't get booked for anything else, because I don't want to get booked for anything else, because I don't want to die. Can I? Could I do a talk? Of course I could. Yep. But I'm a public speaking coach and an event producer. If I'm not speaking about those two things, so no, babe, I can't talk about anything. But I wonder why I weren't getting the bookings. They just wanted me to sing or host, which is fine. But it's that when the lens really sharpens and you are clear and certain, people become clear and certain, and it's easier for them to move toward you.
Absolutely. And, that's just a really great reminder to any business owners that are listening and stuff, that, that simple question of what do you want to be known for? Yeah. Simple question. However, there's a lot of depth to it.
Yes.
Like, for example, and ways to kind of think about that is also, like, for example, if Dani said, right, okay, you've got 30 minutes on my stage, what could you speak about?
Yeah.
Things like that.
And my story isn't the right answer. I just want to tell my story. No one's bothered, babe.
Yeah. It's, yes, it kind of brings, it's navigated, and it's informed the journey, the experience to who we are today.
Yes.
But as business owners, there is more than just your story, and this is also why I have created this Being Your Brand series, because this isn't so much about the journey of who you've become and that kind of thing, it's more about the being
Yeah.
behind the brand, because I felt like there's conversations to be had, because we see amazing people on our socials in rooms and stuff like that, but it's also, I felt important to see if we can get a bit of an insight of, well, actually, who is that being that
Yes.
makes these decisions, that creates this self-trust? And, if we could tap a bit more into that, how valuable that would be. So tapping into things like, because I know, you've got such a beautiful vision and mission and stuff like that. And with all your big, huge things that you are doing, the big festoon and stuff like that, and this is what I absolutely love about you as well, is that you share everything with such truth, good, bad, ugly,
All of
whatever,
it.
those kind of things. So I would love to ask you, so in those moments, how are you actually anchoring in that mission, that purpose, that vision, when things aren't going to plan, or and when things are wonderfully going to plan and you've got all the successes happening?
I mean, events is a roller coaster, so nothing ever goes to plan when you're working in events. Like, that's part of the course. You've got to be made from tough stuff when it comes to things like that. So the reason I get out of bed every morning, when we was talking about rising up, once upon a time I was living by the front of my nose. And as soon as I had something far enough in advance, that all of a sudden it became, how did I want to leave the world? Like, how did I want to leave the world? What would be, and this might sound like delusions of grandeur. I'm not bothered. Like, but I wanted to leave the world better than I found it. How do I leave the world better than I found it? Now, for some people, it might be, I choose to not stand on flowers and let those flowers, or I choose not to ever get cut flowers because I want flowers to grow. And that's, how I'm going to leave the world better than I found it. For me, I can't solve all of the world's problems, but I do know that my skills allow me to be able to create a stage for people who are often othered or underrepresented to take up space and create success for themselves. So I wanted to create a legacy piece that looked like that, where the big festoon isn't Dani Wallace's big festoon, it's the big festoon. It is a safe space to have conversations that matter, where people from all different backgrounds, colours, races, genders, cultures, whatever, can come together and do business, because we all do well when we all do well. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. I can see it. I can see it so clearly. There's not a universe in which it doesn't happen. So when things are dark, I always come back to the fact that there's not a universe in which that doesn't happen. I can't leave the world until that's happened. So nothing's going to happen to me till then. I'm fine. Even if something does, the ball's already started rolling and enough people have heard about it now. Someone will carry it on. Like, because it's too juicy of an idea for the ball not to be dropped now. So even if anything happens to me now, it's still going to happen. There's not a universe where it doesn't happen. So within that, and every decision that I make is always within my value set, where kindness is my superpower. We all do well when we all do well. We are joyfully curious. We're enthusiastically inclusive. And every decision that I make is based against those values, even the tough ones. So having a very, very strong and very, very clear documented set of values from which I never, ever waver, and having a vision so clear that there's not another universe in which it doesn't happen, really helps when you're doing the big ballsy stuff that is really high risk, but yeah, it's quite a big answer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And it's music to my ears, because, that's exactly, I want more business owners to really anchor in those brand foundations, because that's the place you come from in that
Yes.
sense. And when you do have, curveballs and all sorts going on, it
Yeah.
also means that, okay, I might not be in fifth gear, but I can still be in second gear, but I'm
Yeah.
still moving in some way or another, in that sense. So, I just feel like every business owner should have these kind of, strategic brand foundations to continue to be on a path.
It's impossible then to make a bad decision. It's impossible to make a bad decision. So if we go right back to the beginning of this conversation where I didn't feel like I could ever make a good decision and life was happening to me, and we go back to the show up, wise up, rise up cycle, I have a foundation on which I am unshakable because I believe it. I know it. I don't just believe it, because belief allows for it not to happen. That's like, I believe in Father Christmas, or, oh, I believe so. There's still an element of it. It might not, though. When you know something and you're unshakable in that knowledge, then you're unshakable in that knowledge. And
Yeah.
that degree of certainty is very attractive to people. People don't buy from people who are uncertain.
Yeah.
Certainty sells.
And I think that also kind of, I always like to say, a brand is an energy, it is felt, it is experienced. When they feel that confidence and conviction, that transcends as an energy.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's a number of times where people have said to you, I know they've said it to me as well, when you've asked that, why me, or that kind of thing, and I'm like, love your energy. They've not said, oh, because you've got this, wonderful program and this and that and whatever. It's the energy part.
The biggest compliment.
Absolutely. I am conscious of your time. We've got a couple of questions. How many more minutes can we?
Oh, you've got all the minutes. Babe, you've got all the minutes. Many minutes.
I've just looked at the comments, and I've just seen Sylvia. Hi, Sylvia. Great to see you here. And David. So Sylvia said, you have been in the periphery of my world for many years. Susie Ashworth, especially Caroline Strawson, and now Aarti. Oh, thank you. But I am not one of your followers yet. I haven't seen you for 2 to 3 years. I can see a massive maturation in terms of branding and identity. What a great...
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what I would like to end on, Dani, is, we're in 2026 now.
How? I have no idea, but here we are.
I know. Business owners who are looking to really ramp up, or actually, I don't really like the word ramp up, to really
shift the gears,
be more effective, with their personal brand. What 3 things would Dani be telling them to do or be aware of?
So first of all, I would really have the sat-nav set further forward than you would maybe, because we often go, like I see a lot of business owners doing this, when I hit 7 figures, or like, actually, what is the purpose of this thing that you're creating? And it's not for everyone. Some people, like, if you've got an Etsy shop and you want to create beautiful things and sell things on Etsy, and that's your purpose, to live in joy, that is an honorable purpose. So this is not about like judging anybody's raison d'etre. It's not. But having the purpose, like, if you can sit and go, right, why is God or the universe or this bundle of cells at this point in time, why am I here? What do I want to experience? Why I'm here? And sit with that. Write it down. Like, actually put it out of your head and into the world, because there are universes in your brain, and things can get lost over time if you don't have it down in front of you, because then you've got something to check in with. Is this still the thing even? So the first thing is, what's the thing? What's the purpose? What's the reason? I don't know if you remember Keith Lemon on Celebrity Juice? You might not have watched it.
I lived away for 10 years, so I wasn't always here.
You might not have then. So there's a comedian called Lee Francis who has a character called Keith Lemon, and they have a panel, a really funny, in my mind, panel comedy quiz show called Celebrity Juice.
Right.
And any of the celebrities at the time that were doing the kind of the couch tour, so they do Alan Carr, Chatty Man, Jonathan Ross, Parky, they do whoever, they'd also do Celebrity Juice, and they'd have their book or the CD or whatever it is when CDs were a thing. And Keith would hold it up and he'd go, hold up a notebook. He'd hold up the book and he'd go, right, Adele, you've got this album out and it's called My Heart's Been Broken. What's the message? And Adele would go, oh, you know, I went through a heartbreak and I wrote an album. And he goes, oh, yeah, but what's the message? And he'd ask the question over and over again. It got more and more funny because it was obvious what it was about.
Yeah.
But when you ask yourself that question, it becomes really interesting. So what's the message? What's the point? 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 And then that gets really juicy. You see foundations there. Having a core set of values, behaviors by which or points by which you run every decision by, that you're unshakable on. So kindness is my superpower. And I don't mean nice, I mean kind. So I saw a thing the other day, Aarti, and I want to share this. I want to tell everybody who'll listen at the minute, there's a difference between kind and nice. Nice is not telling somebody they've got something on the teeth. Kind is telling them they've got something on the teeth. And we don't want to make people uncomfortable. That's my biggest leadership and brand and everything learn in the last 12 months is nice doesn't serve your outcomes or as a business. Kindness does. Like I care about you, I love you, and I can sit here with you in this discomfort of choice. Or I can tell you this thing and it might not be comfortable, but I'm serving this with real love, and kindness is very different than niceness. So having a core set of values allows you a compass. So you've got your starting point, really, which is like your purpose, reason you're getting out of bed. You've got your compass, which will keep you on track regardless when you're winning or learning. And then the last one, I'm going to sound really glib here, but show up, like show up for it. Like don't whinge when somebody else is doing the thing that you want to do and you're just not doing it. Why are you not doing it? Ask yourself the question, sit with the mirror. What's the message? What am I telling myself? Why am I not doing it? And it might be a multitude of reasons. Where do you take back your power? Where do you get to say I'm complicit in all the decisions that I make?
Yeah.
Because I'm making the decision. So what decision are you making? Then what do you need to learn? How do you need to show up? And.
Absolutely love that. It's that ownership piece, isn't it? It's like take ownership of it because and you know, I'm sure you do as well. Come across so many business owners who are brilliant at what they do. They've got a real kind of greatness and all of that kind of thing. And I'm like, but if you don't show up with this and, you know, speak and lean into it and let people know this about you, you're just, you know, going to take all of this information to the grave. You didn't go through all of that whole journey and experiences, the ups, the downs, to then just keep it all in your mind.
Oh, I'm not perfect enough yet. I don't know enough yet.
Yeah. And like you said, there's beautiful and wonderful ways of keep building on those blocks of like, okay, what is it that I need to understand? How do I get a bit more confident? How do I practice a bit more? It doesn't have to go from 0 to 100. You know, those little steps that build up that kind of self-trust, a bit of that validation, all of those kind of things. So wonderful. Dani, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I
loved it.
To you for like hours and hours. One final thing, how can people get in touch with you? What would you like them to know? I know you've got some new exciting things coming up in January. Tell them what it is.
I do. So on the 19th of January, so we've got the big festoon on the 11th and 12th of March, which is in Manchester. It's our big arena event. So go to thebigfestoon.co.uk, go and get a ticket. And then on the 19th of January, I am launching two things. One, it's called the Festoon 500. I'm not saying any more other than that. Festooning is what bees do when they're building something new. They link arms and they show the other bees where to build. Just as an FYI, that's why the big festoon is called as such. And we're also launching the Festoon Futures Fund, where we will be sponsoring community members from underrepresented communities to come along to our business events, to open the doors, to break down the barriers to access, and to really link arms. I'm really excited. So if you want to come and get amongst it, drop me a follow at the Queen Bee Dani all the way across the socials, or grab your ticket to the big festoon, one way or another. you can find me out here on the internet is where I live.
Absolutely, and guaranteed you'll always be inspired with Dani. So thank you so much, Dani, and all the best for 2026. And I look forward to being in your spaces.
You too. You're most welcome. Thank you so much, Aarti. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you all soon.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Take care. Bye-bye. Give me a sec. Okay.